They're often the craziest players on the ice.
Look at Hextall come out after Chelios. He's gone completely bananas here in this game now.
And when they get involved, there is no telling what will happen.
A right by wall, an uppercut. Yeah, you better believe it, baby.
It's the 10 wildest goalie moments in NHL history next. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another SportsCenter Top 10 special. I'm Darren Detishin. We're so glad that you tuned in. Have you heard of Girls Gone Wild? Well, this is nothing like it. This is Goalies Gone Wild, and to be a goalie, you do have to be a little bit goofy. You're dressed up like an elephant, and when players are not running you over, they are ripping shots at you. I can understand why they snap. Here's number 10 as we get at it, a tantrum which turned into a little slapstick comedy.
I felt that I was clearly interfered with.
Cujo went ballistic and then hit the banana peel in the corner and took Mick down.
Curtis Joseph's got to take it easy here, and some teammates should get between him and the referee. In his attempt to argue the point, he knocked the referee down.
I think there was a slight pause there because they weren't sure if they should laugh or make up.
Maybe it's the best thing that he fell, because if he didn't fall, maybe he was going to give him a trapper to the head.
I don't mind getting hit or taking a shot, but when the puck goes in and it's a game winner, you have to react.
I think that they gave him leniency because of stupidity, because it's worse than a suspension, the embarrassment of having that clip played over and over on TSA.
Anderson getting around Samuelson, goes in deeper, shot, Hextall, held the post, made the save, didn't know where it was. Oh, and then he chops down Nielsen in front of the net.
I make no excuses. Like I did what I did. I was an emotional guy, and quite frankly, I have no apologies.
Let me tell you what happened, Dan. Hextall made a save. The puck was loose around his pads, and Glenn Anderson swiped at the puck with his stick and missed the puck and hit Hextall. It did not hurt Hextall one bit, but it upset him.
My frustration came boiling over, and it came down to the first blue shirt. And whoever it was, it was.
Hit Kenton Nielsen at the end of the Edmonton series and was suspended for 20 games the following season.
It wasn't the little whack I took before. People were like, oh, I took a little whack, and all of a sudden he goes after a guy. And it was more, 2 months of this, I'm frustrated, we're losing, and my emotions got the best of me.
That is just a bad play, and it's dreadful for a guy that is a great goaltender, has a lot of talent, has played very well all season long, and he's just blowing his image right here.
Today he probably would have gotten suspended for the next game, or the next games he would have been out of the series.
Sometimes you do something, you get suspended. Okay, it didn't end up being the best interest of the team, but the intent, was right.
How does it always end up in front of Garstow? On the verge of being into the game.
You didn't have to ask no twice.
Here comes Shields at the other end. Here we go.
Shields, you love the fight.
Snow says, take your mask off, kid, and let's go. He doesn't do it. Snow does it for him.
Once they got started, you knew that neither one of them were going to back down.
Shields says, oh, no, we don't. I want to get a little piece of this action. Here they go. Shields firing punches at Snow. They're having it right in front of the bench. Shields and Snow going at it.
And they were throwing absolute haymakers.
The crowd was going absolutely bonkers. I mean, they were going nuts inside the building. And to this day, they play it on the Jumbotron on a regular basis, and the crowd goes crazy all over it. So it's something that will be remembered forever. Nothing seemed to be out of control in that game. Not like the Shields and Snow episode.
The thing I remember about that is the sicko smile on Emery's face.
The one with Peters and Emery, it was almost like they had grins on their face, the two of them.
He was somehow going to enjoy being pummeled by this massive saber.
And over comes Peters to grab Emery, and this is really going to get ugly now. Peters hasn't thrown a punch at Ray Emery. Now he does. Emery comes back, and now Peters starts teeing off on Emery.
Emery's a tough kid. I mean, I don't know what everyone's so surprised about. I mean, he used to fight in junior. He used to fight in the minors. I mean, it's not like that's not his first tough guy he's ever fought.
If I was, like, you know, getting beat down or something, I think that the boys would have jumped in. But, you know, I can stand there with him. I don't have a problem with that.
I'd consider Razor a top 10 heavyweight in the league, too. As a fighter, too. He's a good fighter. But, no, he can hold his own.
We see the odd goalie fight, but they're usually awkward and guys are falling down and skating at each other. Emery, of course, fights all the time, but there's this demented, psychotic look in his eye when the whole world's going, what are you doing? And he's going, ooh, I want to do this.
Coming up, the goalie bad boy meets his match from an unexpected opponent.
That was surprising. It was Hexie that was bleeding by the end of it.
Our countdown of the NHL's wildest goalie moments continues with a top 6 next.
They were in a spin cycle, and that created a lot of problems with the Bruins' defenses, and that's what you...
Oh, my! A goal as Thomas tried to sweep it away and missed. And Marc-Andre Fleury, leading his team out, took a tumble onto the ice. You'd have to think that these guys would be a little bit nervous. Lidstrom firing it in, scores! Nick Lidstrom beating Kluche with a long-range knuckler. Eisman in front again, another chance, and a big stop, and the puck's in. Law had it and dropped it, and Detroit scores first for the first time. Patrick Waugh just got caught hot dogging. Believe me, he was going to give it the how do you do, and he dropped the puck. Down across the line, Ozolinch again. Try to look out, it's in the net. Brodeur came out and lost his stick, and it hit a stick, and it slipped behind him, and it's in the goal. That's the weirdest goal I've seen in the Stanley Cup Championship Series. Oh, baby. For the last 3-4 trips.
They're kicking 3 guys deep.
And they score! Brian Boucher misplays the bouncing puck. A fluke goal. And it's going to be rattled out and down the ice. This is bouncing into the net. Holy mackerel! That is a 197-foot shot.
Now, Felix Potvin was always known as the Cat because he was as quick as one. But when he decided to challenge Ron Hextall, everybody in the hockey community thought he was about to lose one of his 9 lives. But what do you know? The Cat came back. Turns out Felix was a little feistier than anyone thought. Let the countdown continue.
I think the game was over, and he whacked Danny Lacroix. And it's like, what? Why?
Here comes Hextall. And Potvin and Hextall are going to go. I know Felix doesn't think this is a good idea.
When Felix come out and really could throw him, there was a wake-up call not only to, I think, Hextall, but Tosh.
I think for anybody who stood in front of Ron during their career as a forward, it was kind of enjoyable to watch him get his lunch handed to him by Felix Potvin.
But Felix is doing all right against the bigger Hextall.
We were all surprised how Felix Potvin could fight. And I think it surprised Hextall, too.
Hextall's been in a lot of them. Felix hasn't been in any. He's a popular guy going to the Leaf bench.
You'd stop and look over and go, Felix, you can fight.
He had Felix Potvin, in my opinion, get the better of him, and that was surprising. It was Hexie that was bleeding by the end of it.
It was a good fight.
Is there a winner? Oh, yeah. Oh, me, of course. You see all that blood? He bled all over me.
Tuukka Rask, this nice, quiet Finnish guy, something really got in his kitchen. This is Goalies Gone Wild. I've never seen a guy completely lose it. So they're in the shootout, and one goal gets scored, and Rask doesn't think it's a goal. Another goal gets scored, and Rask doesn't think it's a goal. They're both called goals. And so I'm sure it was bubbling inside his head in the first one, tempered. And he just, once they lost the game, he absolutely loses his mind in a way that I don't know if we've ever seen a goaltender go that crazy. a goalie like that absolutely losing his mind like he did. He put himself on stage, and it was something to behold.
Just went to the net hard. Got a little bit of a cheap shot. We had my wind knocked out of me. I was hurt a little bit, but I wanted to draw them into a penalty. And while the trainer was on the ice, Garth Snow came up to me. Garth, being Garth, just kind of said a few words that we can't repeat on TV. Sticking me with the stick. I just thought it was a perfect opportunity to get a free shot.
And now, here comes and Trefilov came the length of the ice.
Trefilov came down right after his Bringamore had come into the melee.
Now Snow gets back on his feet, and now he comes over. He wants after Trefilov. Here's Snow and Trefilov going at it. Down on the ice they go. Trefilov back up to Snow as they roll around.
That was Matthew's soccer moment. You see it all the time in the World Cup where a guy goes down like he's dead and stays there writhing for 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden he's up with full energy running down the field. Let's face it, Matthew, and he's the first to admit it, is a huge showman. This was part of his gig, not only to instigate and agitate, but to put on a show. He's sitting there going, am I doing a good job of this? Am I doing a good job of this? Are they buying it? And then he gets poked, and the anger comes back, and he goes from showman to crazy man again.
It's a great YouTube moment. I don't think I get any more questions asked about any other part of my career than that moment.
Straight ahead, an all-time great secures his place in the top 10.
They go down the Pavel. Wall won that fight. He absolutely won that fight.
The top 3 is coming up next.